Okay, we live.
Do you need any of this levy stuff, Joe?
When you get a
I've got it digitized. I'm good.
Okay.
Are you number 4 or
That's the
5?
stuff I got from our auditor.
We started right there.
Okay. Anybody heard from Levi?
Negative.
No.
Nope.
That blue thing right next to your fingers.
That's what you're pointing at.
Yeah. Are we up? Good evening, everybody. I would like to call the public hearing at 7:03. The meeting is now called to order. This public hearing is regarding our levy for 2023. Any response from anybody in the public?
We're golden.
Want to address the council? The answer is no. Okay, thank you to the public. At this moment, I'd like to close the hearing at 7:03:54. And I'd like to open the city council meeting for November 9th, 2022 at 7:04. Welcome, everybody. As we call this meeting order, we'll have roll call first. Position number 1, Joe Armand.
I am here.
Number 2, David Budrus.
I am present.
Number 3, Stephen Hardy.
Present.
Number 4, Peter Davenport.
Present.
And number 5, Levi Shank. And we'd like to recognize the visitors.
Denise Solid.
Thank you. Additions to the agenda. I'm going to add a brief conversation about our wastewater treatment manager. That would be Casey Manji. Any other additions?
I don't have any at this time for this meeting.
Okay. To the next one, let's approve the minutes for the meeting of 10/26.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I'm right on here. So we have a motion by Stephen, seconded by Joe, is that correct?
Correct.
To accept the minutes for 10/26 as submitted. Further discussion?
I'm just reading through this.
Oh, no.
It's hot for me, come on. And I can't keep up.
No further discussion? While Peter's going through his notes, do we have a couple visitors who would like to get on the agenda here that you were here?
If you have questions for us, we're here to answer any of them.
Okay, I do. Hopefully I get a chance.
Perfect.
Mr. Davenport. Are you ready to vote on approving the minutes? Pardon me?
I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes from the October 26th meeting as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same? Okay, passes 4-0. Next on the agenda is approve the claims from 11/2/22. So we got 2 pages of claims here.
Move to approve.
We got a second on that?
I'll second.
This is for claims, correct, Matt?
Correct. So we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the claims. Further discussion?
Is the billing from Lincoln County Public Works that far behind that we're paying August now? Is that the normal lag?
Which number are we looking
I'm
at,
sorry.
Joe?
It's number 881. It says August bin rental, cardboard, and disposal fee. I'm just wondering if that's how much of a lag we're dealing with on their invoicing. Okay.
881, what's,
It's Lincoln County Public Works. The page starts
the
with the
dump-
Vista on the top.
Dumping on the rental, dumping of the bins, cardboard.
I was looking for a
Oh, 881. I think you got the wrong ones, David.
page. Okay, yeah, got it right here. You can have that.
I can't write well with it.
You can. Okay.
Thank you.
Although nobody's asked yet.
Well,
Yeah, you go ahead, finish on that one.
no, I just,
Levi Shank. Good evening, Levi.
Good evening, Jess. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're live and on the air at the present moment. Do you wish to
Alrighty.
stay there?
Yes, I'm going to mute myself as I'm running equipment right now.
Thanks much. We are right now going over the claims.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, thank you. Did we get that question answered?
My question got answered, yes.
did it?
Okay. So, in case anybody's wondering, there is a claim here, Bargreen Ellingson. That is number 1404.
Are we,
Oh, I guess it's pretty well documented over there what it is.
Are we going through both pages of claims?
Yes.
I don't see a 1404.
it's on,
Oh, this is supplemental.
Excuse me, that's accounts payable. Yep,
The accounts payable is what I'm paying this week. I'm
these
giving
have,
you advance notice.
yes, these have not been, we're not taking care of checks that have been sent. This is being done ahead of time now.
Okay.
Are you talking about 1402?
1404.
What are the details on missing payments?
for what number?
1402.
Oh, there's
Oh, there's a check out of order there, is what you're saying?
yes.
I can't answer that, Jerry. Can you shed it? I see 1404. Oh, it's at the bottom. Which should raise some eyebrows. If it doesn't, you're asking about that one now?
1402.
Yes.
Are you looking at that amount?
Yeah.
I see why.
It says
It's alphabetized.
payment for missing payments.
Did we
Numbers
miss,
of missing payments.
did we miss about 5 months of payments?
There were 3 in 2021 and 3 this year. I went back through my records and I had not received them from Sunshine. That's why they weren't paid.
So what months are those, Jerry?
May, June, and July
2021?
of 2021. So I wasn't here in May. I came in June, and July, I still didn't know what I was doing.
Okay,
March, June, and September of 2022.
March,
Actually,
April,
March
May.
and June of
March,
2022.
April, May, June.
Just two, March
No.
and June?
Yeah,
In 22.
because the September one is programmed to be paid.
Are they charging us any late fees, or did they acknowledge that they did not send it to us?
They didn't admit to not sending us them, but they are not charging us late fees.
So how is it that they send those to us?
Email.
So you get an email, obviously that's,
And every bill they send to me, I save in the email. And I print it and put it in the cabinet.
So we can't blame the postal service, right? Is what you're saying?
Nope.
so I only got one question, and I'm not a council member, but I can tell you, if you were paying me, and I'm talking about over a year ago, I'd be saying, where's my money? How is it that those people don't care for over a year?
Well, if they believed that we were in error, they would have been charging us late fees, I'm fairly sure.
Wow.
Or they're sending some sort of correspondence a month or two after that.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Okay. Back to 1404, that doesn't raise any eyebrows now after seeing that bill. But $289 for dishwashing, it's soap, and we bought 2 5-gallon buckets. And the reason we bought 2 5-gallon buckets, the reason that cost almost $300 is it's, believe it or not, hard to buy this commercial stuff. It winds up being 2 months till you get a bucket, so we've been out for a couple weeks. The last couple people that have used the Memorial Hall have not had dishwashing soap, and because of that, left the dishes dirty in the sink. So we now have 2 5-gallon buckets, and when we get down to one, we will reorder again.
Do we have a dishwasher in the hall?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a sanitizer.
Okay.
Okay.
All dishes have to be hand washed,
That's what I
then
remember.
run through the sanitizer.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
But we haven't bought that stuff in over a year.
Yeah, it's a long
So
time.
it lasts a long time.
Going back to the top of the list, AAA Labs.
Yes.
I see the different dates, but is there any difference between sewer testing and sewer water testing?
Just the way I typed it.
They're the same test then.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So we've got a motion on the floor and a second. Further discussion?
I'm good, thank you.
I believe I had one, but I'm trying to find it. If not, we'll just move on here.
It's okay.
And it had to do kind of what Joe picked up on earlier. And I don't believe I see it on here again. But it's when the recycle bins,
Oh, that was 881.
right, but
register.
when we pay municipal solid waste, there was one that it had
Greenways?
They were combined on one, and then they charged again. But I don't know, I think that might be a prior bill, so sorry, apologize for the going back to this. I don't see it here. Must have been some past correspondence.
1395, I think.
Oh, okay, okay, yes, it's, when you go to transaction 880, it says August bin rental, cardboard, and disposal fee. So we have a bin rental,
Yep.
a cardboard disposal fee, and then please bear with me.
$13.95.
1395 would be the tipping fee.
There was a separate payment. I'm trying to think of where.
2192.20.
13.95.
1395.
It's
Yeah, I got that one. This one was for $300. Which one was?
And then there's some things that I don't have.
Good Lord.
I mean, 881 is for 320, and 1395 is for 2192.
You could have got,
yeah, that's right at your thumb there, David.
Yeah, it's 320. That's the cardboard rental. But there was one where it was a full payment. Like I said, I may be looking at last month or a different one here when I was going through stuff earlier. It had the municipal solid waste month, and it also said in that the cardboard rental and all that stuff. So did they send two different bills for that, Jerry?
Yes.
They must. Okay. Well, without any further, I'm not finding it in here right now. Again, apologize for.
is it possible you were looking up here?
No,
Okay.
it was. Good Lord. It must have been last month, or I mean, prior. It has to be. What it looked like is that it was a double dip,
Okay.
is what it appeared to be, but maybe it wasn't. In other words, it was a charge along with that 2100. It was the solid waste, and then it said such and such month, and it said for bin rental, cardboard disposal fee, and then
That was just
Few lines-
Jerry's description of what the bill was.
right then a few lines down it said another $300 for the same thing. I just didn't know if it was. Yeah, forget it.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor, a first and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm good now.
Peter? All in favor of accepting the accounts payable as presented?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Next thing on the agenda is to approve the payroll.
Move to approve.
Second.
So, we have a motion and a second to approve the payroll as presented. Floor is open for discussion.
I'm good.
Looks straightforward to me.
Peter Davenport?
No questions at this time.
Okay. At this point, it's been moved and seconded that we accept these as written here. All in favor, state aye.
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 All opposed, same. Very good. Motion carries 5-0. I don't see our treasurer here, so I'm assuming we have no treasurer's report.
Question on that subject.
Yes, sir.
Is she planning to submit treasurer reports for all the months she's missed?
I will ask her that. We're having a meeting tomorrow evening, so
Okay,
I will get back to you with that answer.
thank you.
Next thing on our list here is an executive session, which we're going to handle at least 3 subjects. One would be the lease for payments to establish a new city hall. There's another one regarding money promised to the library. And one regarding wages. So I think,
If it's budget, doesn't have to be in open.
pardon me,
If it's budget, does it not have to be in open
a budget for?
for the library stuff, isn't that? not-
No, this is for money that was talked about last week and pushed forward. I don't think it's budget, it's gonna come out of, I'm not exactly sure which fund yet.
I thought that had to be in public. That has to be done in public.
Well, I don't know.
I think,
It's-
so
has
unless,
to be done
unless there's a
public.
dynamic I'm not missing,
Yeah.
it,
With budget,
Okay.
it has to be done in open.
Okay,
yeah.
that's more than fine with
I
me.
don't care. Personally, I don't care, but I'm just telling you.
No, I mean, let me
It
put
has to be
it,
done in public.
I don't know every reason that could consider it for executive. If we touch on a sensitive subject, I'll raise a flag, but in general, that's not an executive.
Okay, then I guess we'll just go to the last 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is right now 7:20, let's call it 7:25.
Start with a half hour.
Okay, we'll shoot for a half hour here.
Mike,
You gentlemen gonna stick around a while?
No, we'll try to come back and see if we can meet up with you, but
Okay.
Catch some criminals.
Yeah, go get the bad guys, so yeah?
I can imagine how.
Okay, so we've announced the time, so I'm going to mute this, right?
Sounds good to me. The mic
We are extending executive session for another 15 minutes, so we will reconvene. It's here at 7:54 now, and just to put it in an even number, we'll be back at 16 minutes from this moment. So, okay, now it's 15 minutes. So 8:10 p.m. I believe I actually am required to wait until it's officially 8:10, so.
It is.
To extend it?
It's 8:11.
Oh,
Oh, it's
That
still
clock
9
is
and 38
a little-
seconds.
But that's what you went off of when you came out here.
okay, that's,
So you're
okay.
fine.
Okay, good to know. So we are extending one of the two topics has been completed. We are extending another 15 minutes for the second topic. We will come back at 8:25.
We could have been in there for another 2 hours.
Well, we discussed a lot, we solved a lot of problems out here.
Did you?
Actually got the rest of your list knocked out already.
Okay.
We could have been there for 3 hours.
You got next meeting's list made?
Just, I hope you didn't come out without decisions. No, we're happy.
Okay.
Let's go.
Library report, Denise Halling.
Well, we have all the books in alphabetical order, all the way around, all of the shelves are redone. We're down to, we got 13 boxes of books donated. And so our librarian went and got those and brought those down, we'll get those out. And our grand opening will be December 3rd. So we'll be here, it's a Saturday, from 10 to 2. And then we'll go to regular hours from that, the following week, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
How many hours on those days?
10 to 2 on Saturday. And then back-
That's for the grand opening.
That is for the,
And regularly, Tuesdays and Thursdays? How many?
just regular hours, 2 to 5 on Tuesday, 3 hours.
3 hours, okay.
Until we can get the budget done so we can add Saturday. Because we would like to be open 3 days a week, pull in a Saturday. So it'd be then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
That's it? Or I should say, is that all you've got? Okay.
That's it, other than our money.
Well, I can say at the present time, the library, yeah, excellent, good job.
Yes.
It's been working out as roommates here, which is what we are. We're not occupying the same.
We have about a week and then it will just be Maria and it'll be quiet. Because
So
tomorrow and
it's worked
Friday,
out
we're
pretty
gonna
good.
vacuum. So I'm gonna try to do it on lunch hours when Jerry's gone. And we're gonna vacuum all the animals, get all that dust cleaned and all the rest. The trophies, of course, are behind you. And then the rest are all downstairs in boxes. But once we get all of the rest of this, everything vacuumed, I think. And that'll be tomorrow and Friday, so.
It's already way more open.
Oh my
and much
goodness.
more light. It's night and day.
Yeah.
A lot of time, a lot of hours. Maria has just
I've seen them.
really put in a lot of hours for us.
Yep.
And the point of what you heard me saying before the meeting is if those lights end up working out, I think we can probably find the money to buy the rest of the lights for this. And that would make it so that things aren't flickering on and off and showing people as green and all that kind of stuff. Then we just need a collection of volunteers to help rewire these, which I can teach people how to do.
Well, David knows how to do it. He just did
Yeah.
64 of them.
More now.
Just the lights.
Been down 200 and
Bulbs, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a stack of ballast, I don't know, filled up a whole pickup or a
There you
whole
have it.
truck. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I actually liked it. Nathan and I did those in maybe about an hour.
And I have a lot of wire, new wire, red wire, you know.
Hung up on you, Jess.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the lights.
Good thing we don't pay for minutes anymore.
No
And
kidding.
no problem with the money.
Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too.
I mean, we have some sources of some one-time funds in regards to some insurance stuff. I think that Joe's going
Well,
to speak
the only
to.
reason, the biggest reason why I'm asking is I got Maria putting in a lot of hours.
Having an
I need-
addiction,
and then
that
we would
is
like
it.
to- I'd like to order a bunch of new books.
I hear
Yeah,
ya.
I've got some used ones.
I have no intention of putting that on your funds, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Yeah, I just.
This would be something that we would do as a part of some changes around, and because the city still owns the building, it would be a city building maintenance thing in my mind personally.
Okay, well, because on the old thing, the printout, it was on there for us.
You got a report for that?
Which was
but it doesn't need to be an action.
a lot of money for us.
Yeah. we're gonna have to come to grips with where certain expenditures land and making sure that you have the money to be able to fund those if they land in your court.
Is this
That's
your
gonna be a
paper or is this
process.
mine?
No,
And I
this
need
is
to
just
sit down
stuff,
with you guys because
this is stuff,
I'm not okay
things that have been
with
done
paying
already.
50% of the electricity when we're not open.
Sorry about that. Is that
50%
mine too?
of that.
I have no idea. I just thought you were passing me
I need to-
info.
And,
No.
and I'm a budget
These are
person, and
just
I'm gonna
things
work
that
off that budget.
been done.
so-
Yep. I think we have something in place for that.
So, this money we talked about before, I think this is a great time to talk about that if possible. Can you expound on that a little more?
Can I?
Yes? In the last meeting, that was Councilman Stephen Hardy who said that this amount of money would be made available. Do you need that
Oh, for the library.
for the library? Yeah, while we're on that subject.
Right. Okay. It wasn't labeled. It was just an amount. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. So, right, because we need to put that in as part of a budget amendment. And right. So it is listed as an action item. So I will officially move that we allocate
3,200.
3,200 to the library board for the remainder of the year until the 2023 budget is established.
Second.
If you want to
Okay.
give us more, we'll take more. That is what.
You read the fine print.
So we got a motion on the floor to make an advance, and we're not 100% sure which account that's coming out of, but we know we have several to choose from. Of 3,200 to give to the library to take care of their budget through 2022.
And keeping in mind, some of that is actually just relabeling funds that were already allocated to the library previously, but we need to set them with a starting amount for their budget. So it's not 3,200 that were not going to be library funds altogether. Some of that was wages that was already put in place in the previous budget. So some of that is just reallocating and reappropriating library funds back into a library starting balance.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's just through December 31st.
So we got a first, a motion, and a second. Floor's open for discussion.
How much money do we have in the budget?
In what part of the budget?
Library,
Well, if we go to the part that was designated to pay for the librarian, I think we're down to 180 or something like that.
Difference.
I think the year's budget, as it was set, was it 10.5 or 17.5?
Oh,
Mhm.
10,
Yeah, I think it's 10.5.
10.5, okay.
Yeah.
So, but that was all encompassing all the bits and pieces and parts.
So if you divide
So
it
there-
up by a year, it's probably, what, about $1,500 swing at this point?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So
But it's
there's,
also reclaiming months that we didn't have a librarian at all.
5 months.
So, yeah.
You spent that money already though, on the previous library.
We did have some catch up to do.
yeah, there's going to be an amendment needed too.
Well,
5 months worth? Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
you can think of it that way, but to go back and to
I can go
to
pull out
rectify
those.
missed
I
payments
have
in
all that
previous
paperwork.
years, whether that is an overage that is assigned to this year from a budgetary standpoint, yes. From a responsibility standpoint, that was technically an obligation of a previous year.
Most of it was 2022.
Oh,
And it was
Yeah.
the difference. It was the difference between her wage, her hours, and minimum wage.
That's right.
but I thought a lot of that went into 2021 because I thought we were actually overpaying him for 2022.
No.
No.
Or
No.
did I have those backwards?
Backwards.
We were
Right.
overpaying for 2021, but under for 2022. Okay.
No, we were overpaying in 2020.
Oh,
2021, for the whole year, we had to pick up.
But it
Right.
wasn't as much.
And 3 months in 2022.
okay. Okay. Right. So then to say that, and because we were not properly keeping up with minimum wage, we didn't budget correctly. It's not that we overspent, it's that we under budgeted.
Correct.
Well said.
I did a spreadsheet at one point in time.
Okay, that makes sense.
What do you hear?
Well, maybe that's somebody in the opera hall.
No,
The buzzing of the light?
No, I don't
up
have,
again there.
somebody walking up there? Okay, good. That's good news,
Santa Claus.
because that's what I hear.
I'm glad you finally heard it.
Yeah? Well, I can hear those kind of things nowadays.
I thought it was David tapping his boots.
So we have
What I
a
thought as well.
motion and second.
Pardon me?
Call the question?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the sum of $3,200 for the library.
Call the question.
Second. I tried that already.
I
Okay?
agree with that, so we just go to a vote, correct?
So without a further discussion, are we ready to have a vote on that motion?
Correct.
Library motion?
Yes.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we provide the library with $3,200 to finish out the year of 2022. All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same? Motion passes.
Thank you,
5-0.
guys.
5-0. Next thing on our agenda, insurance report from Councilman Armand.
I will make this brief. I reviewed this 2023's insurance payments that are going to be required because we had a lot fewer employee hours in 2022 than they had anticipated. Our rates into 2023 will be down. 2022 we paid $31,385. In 2023 our insurance premium will be $23,252. It's an amount of $8,123 less to the insurance. So that's most likely going to be a one-time thing. Since we've got full staffing, or better staffing anyway, we're 2024 will probably be back up to normal. We do need to do our best diligence to keep our loss ratios down and claims free because our claims severity slipped downward or upward, depending on how you want to look at it. We cost them more money than they really want us to. So the only saving grace is we had a lot fewer hours on the books. And that's it.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep.
Additions to the agenda. Casey Manji. I brought up that name because I heard, not from her, from another person, that AAA Labs is not going to be doing our lab work anymore. And we today got a lab bill from, refresh me again, the company, Jerry? Anatech. Anatech is now doing our lab work. I wanted to call and talk to Casey today, but my day got wrapped up with other things. So I'm gonna pursue that that whole project, but it's very concerning to me that it's been moved to Anatech and there's been no conversation between myself and the individual who is managing our wastewater treatment plant or with Jerry. So I'll have a better report on that when I get to all the facts for our next meeting, and maybe before.
Was that for our sewer water?
Sewer water, and, no, potable water.
Yeah.
But I believe, as I understand from another source, AAA is closing its doors.
Okay.
And like I say, I'm a little disappointed that I haven't heard
Directly.
directly to myself or to the clerk, since we're the only two people here that,
Does this in any way affect our, we have a contract with
we do not have a contract.
AAA?
We have a month-to-month arrangement. I'm not concerned that this puts us in any way, shape, or form in bad
I just,
picture with our Department of Ecology. I'm not concerned about that at the moment. We're still doing the testing,
right.
and we're getting the DMR and the reports back, so I'm just,
Moves us more towards a monopoly that can charge us whatever they want for
I
testing.
thought there was a contract, I mean, maybe it was another one or something
You're a ray of
that was
sunshine.
part of that. Under contractual agreement, what we'll take and what they'll do. Maybe that's an agreement, I don't know. It was in a contractual format. I'd have to go do some digging. But you're not aware of nothing right at the moment.
no. All I can remember is the meeting we had here. That was a rather colorful meeting. And we haven't touched that subject because it's kind of like a festering sore, so we've left it alone. But now's the time we're gonna deal with that.
Seems like a fairly lucrative contract to a lab. And I'd like to know why Casey Monga?
Manji.
Manji has released the contract.
I've got the paperwork there today from Anatech, and they probably got 30 pages of every test and everything they ran. Amazing, a bunch of information that you probably need to have several degrees to decipher it, but they're different kind of business, it looks like to me, that we're dealing with now.
Anatech, they're on Third, aren't they?
Somewhere in Spokane.
Medical Lake.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's not as far as Spokane. And the price was very close to what we were paying her. So we're going to see some changes in our billing here. And that's about all I can give you on that right now, because I don't have any other facts. So, if anybody hears any response from that group, please bring it to the city hall and let us know.
Okay.
I don't want to say this word even. I think I want to call it Ordinance 319, and I could be wrong.
It's 319 and 505.
Thank you. Other than that, I don't even want to say the word, but Joe, do you have a copy of the one that you edited with the language that was in the
319 or 505.
So
505 was done
yes,
in 2021, May of 2021?
basically
You have the only copy of that.
the handwritten copy, and I took his handwritten copy, and in listening to our redo, there was only one word that I found that you missed in your handwritten copy.
That being?
I think it was female birds, something like that.
At any rate, I would absolutely be ready to buy cake or pizzas for the next meeting if the council could somehow put 505 in the coop where it belongs.
502 is actually what it is.
502. Back in the coop, let's close the door and get this thing in the books and be done with it.
Pizza, you said?
Pizza, I'd be glad to buy pizza if you could not put me through that kind of pain again.
For the record, I would like to recant what I said in the last meeting. I was adamant about separating the two. I didn't feel it was necessary to put the modified ordinance or new ordinance in a zoning. However, I recant this because other towns have done just exactly that, and it seems to work. So my suggestion to council would be to create a resolution to add the verbiage in 502 or 505, whatever it is, and add it to 319, repeal that section in 319 and repeal 505.
502.
502.
502. Where did I get 505?
And just amend 319?
Thank you. Amend 319 with that verbiage, that language in there, and
So this is
repeal 502.
this is what you agreed to, which
Yeah.
I think is, although it has another ordinance number, it's exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
So for the sake of argument, I was not here at the time, but in looking at everything, this, in my opinion, is a done deal. You guys reviewed it, you guys you guys agreed to it in verbiage.
Yeah.
What the issue was, is that the paperwork that was signed and ended up in the file was not what you agreed on. So,
But last meeting, we established what that should read, and we solved that issue.
correct, which is now what is typed out here.
But we don't need to vote on that.
I don't think so. I don't even think it needs to be re-signed by the current
No,
mayor
because
and clerk.
we established as a group what was voted on back in 2021,
Was valid.
and that was a valid vote at the time.
And it was done verbally. It's not like you guys had a
Right.
typewriter in front of you doing
And we
it.
had the meeting minutes that proved that out, so I don't think there's... What I would say is that until we have a new resolution to vote on to make changes such as what David outlined, there is no actionable work for this body.
That would be my only recommendation. That way we just have one that deals with the zoning and it's done.
For what it's worth, the reason I found this was because it was in the 319 folder.
Right. But just to clean things up, it was basically unnecessary.
There was actually a copy of what I had.
But what they're saying is that we leave it
That's what I
just
brought.
like
That's
this,
why
all
I
one
bounced it
done,
off.
was signed.
I asked Stephen, do you want to repeat that, Stephen? What the mayor is suggesting is that we can leave it just as is, as done.
I think we are legal and stable right now. To your point about realigning things after our nuisance ordinance, I think there's validity to that, but I would not suggest that we try to craft the resolution you're looking for as a group here in this meeting. We should wait, there should be like a committee or a member of this group should craft the resolution, or we should work with the lawyer or whatever to get that resolution crafted, and then we should debate that resolution's merits once we have something to look at and analyze. But to debate what should be in it and kind of craft it here as the group of 5 and 6,
Yeah.
I don't think we want to do that here tonight, is my 2 cents. But
Well, we
I
don't-
agree with you that it would probably be appropriate to make sure that everything is in alignment with our new nuisance ordinance.
We don't have an action on that anyway, so. At least mine's showing no action.
Thank you.
So do you want
Okay.
my pizza order?
I was gonna say, I was gonna look forward to
Since there was no action to be had anyway, I think
He is a politician.
That was in the fine print, right?
I'm here to serve
So
the
we-
people.
Finally bring this thing in and it's all done. I suggest that we have a celebratory pizza then.
Amen.
Chicken wings?
Chicken pizza, yeah.
Would that be a hen or a female?
Female cheese.
Non-binary chicken.
Okay, I think that issue's done. Mayor's comments.
So we don't need to vote on it?
No,
No, we can't.
it was already done, Peter, and we didn't have an action item on that anyway.
Did you read this?
There is a God.
Is this what you just did?
Off your handwritten notes.
And today I met twice, I believe it was only twice, with Stephen Marsh, and I sent all of you tonight his update. just to give you a basic idea where we're at, there was an issue with having an agreement in place on the piece of property that was vacated by the city, so that the city had a right to go on and service our water line. And
I wrote it down, public utility easement.
easement. When that property was vacated, whoever wrote the vacation agreement up did not write in that the city had the right to have go on there and repair or work on any water lines that were there at the time. But since they were already existing, apparently there is some former court rulings that it's already it's a given that it's going to happen.
Okay.
But Stephen Marsh and I and Sackett's met at the job site today, and they hammered out an agreement that they will be in tomorrow at the 10:30 meeting for our pre-con of signing the agreement so that we will have that done. So we will have our easement in place, and the construction will go forth a week from this Friday. Material, yeah, I sent that to all of you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, a week from Friday, equipment is going to start showing up, and we should start working on the 21st of November, and it is a 20-day maximum project. After that, fines start going in. If J.R. Massey and Pacific, whatever the tunnel boring company's name is,
Wyoming group, yeah.
Hive, yeah. At any rate, it will be done before Christmas, barring any stoppage by the railroad.
Are
So,
they working Thanksgiving Day too?
No, Thanksgiving Day and Friday, they are officially having a holiday.
yeah. So the project's going to start here in the next 2 weeks. This week, which none of you knew about, but our pump number 1 was in the process of being rebuilt and remanufactured to accept new packing on the packing gland. It is a 100-year-old pump, and I had called in 2 different companies to come and repair that item because the pump was out of service, so we only had 1 water pump working. And one of the companies, our normal person that we would use, decided they did not want to work on this 100-year-old pump. You all seen it? I think you've probably seen it too. At any rate, after spending some time on the phone with the second person, he recommended that we take care of that ourselves since we knew how to do it. And he did not actually want to get involved with what he called a fine group of antiques that we were the owner of. This has been running for 100 years, and after a couple men in the city here welded nuts and unscrewed the broken ones, put it back together, it is now up and functioning and back in service.
Good work.
Running quietly.
And that was
But
down here by the bank, or is that the one that-
As I was told by the man who told us how to fix it, it's going to be working and it's all a wonderful thing until it's not. He said, I strongly suggest you start saving your money. And he estimated 25, then he said 35, and he said, no, you better figure on $45,000. And I don't know, talking with the group earlier tonight, some people thought more than that, but we have a 100-year-old pump that's running just fine today. So in the future, we need to firmly keep in mind that our water system, which we rely on,
money available out there somewhere.
could stop at any moment.
Mayor, could you clarify, which well is this on?
This is well number 1, which is down in
Old City Shop?
the city shop.
Okay.
This company, who is Pomona Pump, was started in like 1901, and in 1920 they voluntarily eliminated the company. So your possibilities of finding any of these pieces are virtually nil. He
So
thought
they'd
they
be
looked...
have to be fabricated then if you.
Huh?
I said you'd have to have somebody fabricate parts then if you needed to.
What's cast?
Oh, it's cast.
This is all cast iron. And I'll show you the pictures of this thing in service now with the new parts that were put in it.
So it's the motor, not the pump that failed.
No, it's not the motor, it's the pump housing that
The packing.
External-
Shaft.
there is a, I'll show you better pictures that I have of that.
I thought you said they changed the capacitor.
The capacitor was also out. And the capacitor on the motor is an electronic device that communicates with our water tank and with pump number 3, which is right here behind the bank building. And the signal in the tank up here on the hill says, I need water. And depending on which pump we decide it's going to get it from, either number 1 or number 3 starts. Number 3 has been running all summer long, the bigger pump. We have a 20 horse down here, 250 gallon pump, number 1. We have a 40 horse, 440 gallon per minute pump, which is number 3. The big one we run all summer long to keep up with the extra water use of sprinklers and summertime use. It was turned off here the other day. We tried to turn on one and it was started leaking. And also, because of a lightning strike, it had blown out this capacitor that talks with the tank. So Troy made a trip to Hayden, Idaho last Thursday, picked up the capacitors. Wednesday and Thursday morning, myself and 2 other men repaired the packing gland. And that thing is up and running now with new capacitors and packing. And it could run another 100 years. I strongly accentuate the word could. Yes.
Knock on wood.
So,
What do you estimate the cost of rebuild was?
Replaced.
45,000.
your mayor listening to words that he usually doesn't say by a couple of other individuals for about 12 hours. And me laying on my back down there, working on it.
Yeah.
So, didn't cost you anything. Well, it cost you a little bit.
Saving the city
Well, the estimate,
45,000?
no. The estimate was that it could be $3,000 to $4,000 for them to come out and extract the rusted off and broken studs. So we probably saved $3,000 at least. And they didn't guarantee that they could fix it.
Yeah.
He said, you have to know that you're working with something here that we make no guarantees when we come out. Which is why Holme did not want to even touch this job.
City's indebted to the mayor then.
Here,
Good work.
Any rate,
You can write it off against my pizza.
yes. You can pay me in pizza. We're also working on the water tank. I sent you all the report from the people who came to inspect our water tank. And it's a fairly lengthy report, but we're in the process of cutting down probably 40, 50 years worth of junipers that have grown up to the point that you can virtually need a treasure map to get to the tower at the bottom and to find the ladder to climb up to the tank to inspect it. And there's several other issues, so I suggest you read that and we'll see where we're gonna go. At the present time, the 2 public works people are working with deforestation projects around the bottom of the water tank.
There you go, right there.
So that's gonna be an ongoing project. Any public comments? Go ahead, Stephen.
Two quick things. One, I'd like for us to start meeting on budget stuff.
Oh, yes.
My proposal would be that we start at 6 p.m. for those that are interested for the remainder of the year before our meetings.
Okay. Did you get that, Peter?
There were two conversations going on.
Sorry.
We're talking about setting our first time for the budget meeting.
When Costco has Christmas trees, you know it's budget season and for the Harrington City Council, and it's time for us to start putting that together. So I would propose that for those that are on the budget committee, which would be myself and Peter, and then David had expressed his interest as well, which that is more than a committee, and therefore it dictates a public session, that I would say that we just have a public session at 6 p.m. for the remainder of the year. We'll start with that. We'll see if we need more sessions. Some years we have had to have more than 3, so it could kick up more than that. But we need to start getting some things hammered out of looking at numbers and getting that all ready to go.
First
Library
date?
things to discuss. Cost of living increases, so.
Yeah. First date?
Well, it'll be our next meeting. So before our meetings for the rest of the year, 6 p.m.
Got it.
Run from 6 to 7.
Make sure.
So you're only talking 2 of them then?
We don't have 2 in December. We should have one more in November and 2.
So the 23rd of November.
We should have 3 coming up.
Yeah, I thought we had 3. And I think 3 is a decent baseline. We can add a 4th if we need to once we start getting
We're
a
talking
view
about
of
meeting
the.
1 hour before.
So we're gonna wait until the 23rd to even, to get a start on this. 2
November
weeks.
20, well, I will meet earlier if you'd like to get us going quicker on that.
Our next one is the 23rd, you said?
23rd.
Which is the day before Thanksgiving, just for the.
Yeah.
Well, who's bringing the turkey?
It'll be pizza.
Turkey pizza. Well, okay, so why don't we go with, is the 15th open for people? And again, this would really
Tuesday,
only need
November
to be,
15th, next Tuesday.
That's next
at
Tuesday.
a minimum, Peter and I as the ones officially on the budget committee, then David is one who's expressed interest. Levi and Joe would not really have to be there.
How about our clerk to provide us
He
with
wouldn't
info that
have
we,
to be there, but it would be helpful, but it's technically outside of his job description to be there.
okay?
There's no notes are being taken, no minutes for public work. Or,
It would be a workshop, but it would be a public meeting.
Open to
We
the
would-
public.
We would have to list it, but it would not be a city council meeting with minutes, and we can put it on YouTube as a form of accountability and stuff there. as
Public
well.
workshop then.
It's a public workshop, so it doesn't have minutes, but it does have the Freedom of, or Public Meetings Act, the OPMA requirements to it, I believe. So,
I've forgotten, Stephen, have you worked on the budget in the past?
only 1 year, and Justin's historical knowledge of it dwarfed my own, so I learned a lot in 1 year, but I'm going to ask Justin if he could join us, because 1 year doesn't go very far in understanding the historical context of the budget. I was still swimming quite a bit last year in all of those numbers.
So it's agreed on, we're gonna do Tuesday. and-
Tuesday the 15th at, well, I guess since we don't have a city council meeting afterwards, we could go 7. See how far we go. Or we could go earlier, I don't care.
7 I could be here.
Okay,
6
7.
I'd be late.
Okay. Well, let's do that, and then we can get maybe at least a little bit of a read on what we should do after that.
Who's gonna send out the reminder?
I can send out an email reminder.
I
Less than a
will
week,
call.
so. And then the only other thing I want to mention real quick, it would be my suggestion to the council, we can't take a vote on this because we're not on an action item on the agenda. We also wouldn't need to because it would come up in approval of purchases in a future meeting. But I would suggest to the council that we just buy up our domain name for the next 10 years at a rate of $22 or so per year, harrington.city. It hasn't gone up a lot in the last number of years, and just inflation-wise, it's probably going to go up. And to just be able to lock it in for 10 years, like we could move hosting, we could do a whole bunch of things with it, but I think the name of harrington.city is a pretty decent and memorable, easy to tell people domain name. Our email addresses are there. It's not likely we're going to change, and because all of our email is there, it's not something we're likely going to budget cut in anytime soon, considering all that goes on with harrington.city in its various forms. So I'd suggest just plopping down $220 for it and have it locked in for the next 10 years, and almost assuredly sometime in that the price is going to go up, and we'll be ahead some amount of money.
I concur.
Is that a motion?
It's not a motion, we don't need to, because if I make the purchase, the approval for that purchase will come up in like our next meeting or something when Jerry presents the bill for it. So this is more just a heads up and a council's sentiment that it doesn't surprise anyone when they find that on a future bill and say, why did you buy $220 worth of domain services? So.
Because you're a nice guy.
No objections?
No objection.
Good idea.
I'll do that. That's it. Sorry.
Second to the last item. I hope that we can approve our levy tonight. We had our public hearing, and Joe has the copy. Was that sent out to all of the people?
Throughout to Harrington.
Yeah, I think so.
And this is our tax levy that we have to have in by November 30th to the assessor's office.
Right.
And there is a number that they give us that is the highest number, and we can increase that by 1%.
Yep.
So
Move to approve.
Second.
So there's a motion on the floor to accept the move to approve our tax levy of a 1% increase,
As presented.
We want maximum increase.
1% maximum increase.
We've done less than maximum in the past.
You've done .994 and 995. It was just a number that came up within,
I looked, Nathan had it at 17% last year. We only got one.
yeah.
You can ask for more, but you're not gonna get it.
What's the amount we're talking about this year?
According to their numbers, I saw it looked like it was an additional 553 off the top of my head. $553 for the year.
Extra that we will get.
From the entire city.
Yeah.
That'll cover some pizza.
Yeah.
It's not a whole heck of a lot.
See what Jay's rates are.
Who was the second on that motion?
Me.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to accept our increase of 1%, and the general levy will be 57,661.79. Is that correct, Joe?
That's based on COLA,
Okay.
or not COLA, based on CPI,
Yes,
Consumer
CPI.
Price Index.
So that number is based on the Consumer Price Index.
So
Floor is
here's-
open for
here's-
discussion.
Here's the actual resolution as it writes up. If we went with Consumer Price Index, it'd be an additional $4,400 from the city for the entire year. However, the state mandates you cannot have more than a 1% increase per year.
They capped it at 1%.
They capped it at 1.
Tim Lyman.
That's 4,400 additional or total?
That's what we're asking for. We're never gonna get it. We only get for 1%.
And the 1% is 550?
Yes.
550.
For the from the entire town for 1 year.
Okay.
So we'll vote.
Any further discussion? Okay, we got a motion on the floor to accept our, and submit our resolution here to,
It is not numbered yet. I don't know what the next number in sequence would be.
Jerry, can you give us a number for that?
Resolution?
Yes.
$239-2022.
So we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 239-2022, which will increase our taxation received by the city here, or received by the city council for our budget for 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, say the same. Wonderful, passes 5-0.
That needs all of our signatures tonight, gentlemen.
You ready?
Public comment, right?
Public comments.
Hey, I'm here from the sheriff's office if anybody has questions for us. I'd also like to introduce this Deputy Rose. He's brand new to Lincoln County. He's been in training now for about, out of the academy, about 3 months. Is that right? So he graduated, what day did you graduate?
Oh, in August.
He graduated the academy in August and joined us on the road after that. He's got about 2 more weeks of training right here with me, so it's gonna be good. And then he'll be on his own. So we don't know what section he'll be working or what zone or any of that right now, but you may see him. So, what do you guys got for us?
Welcome aboard.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Brandon Rose.
Brandon Rose.
Yeah.
ROSC?
Yep.
Did we elect a new sheriff last night?
So the vote is not certified yet. So, we'll see how the certification goes. As we all know with elections, they're never over until...
Is it going to be 2 months before they can count the number of ballots in Steve County?
So it sounds like they're going to certify the election this month at some point, but I'm no professional at that. But it looks like it's leaning one way.
I can tell you
What
that
are
the
the numbers?
local newspaper called it.
Yeah, it's...
To like 1,000,
What's that?
3,100 to like 1,000 something.
Sounds right.
60.
We have
correct,
not been
Sheriff?
announced to us at the sheriff's office yet because it has not been certified. So once it's certified, I'm sure we will get an official announcement. So,
Okay.
yeah. You guys got any questions about anything else going on in Harrington? Issues, problems, concerns?
I just got a question for you, John.
Yep.
What's the burglary status in the county? The hot spots, the most calls?
So, the
Anything
thing about
wrong?
burglaries, most of the burglaries that we see are vacant houses. So, farmhouses that nobody lives in anymore, things like that. That's the majority of what we see. In town, burglaries are a lot more rare out here. And I don't know the last one we had in Harrington. I haven't worked on one in town in Harrington. But we do get them out, and it's usually people stealing, 25-year-old TVs and stuff like that. So, but definitely, I tell everybody who's got a farm, if it's gonna get, if something's gonna get burglarized, it's gonna be out at your farm somewhere. So put a camera up, put a game cam, put a wireless cell phone cam, put something up there because we're not going to see it happening. After the fact, we do catch a lot. We just had a trial last month where we got one, but definitely do whatever you can to prevent things from happening. And if you have a vacant house that nobody's going to be in, just get anything valuable out of it. That's what we tell people.
What if we have a vacant house that has somebody in it, that has no water turned on to it?
A vacant house, I guess it wouldn't be vacant if somebody.
No, well, I guess it's not vacant. We're unable to contact the owner.
Okay.
Because the owner is in another part of the state and unavailable for confrontation most of the time.
So, without knowing the whole scenario of the story, but let me just hear this out. So, you have a house that somebody owns. That person does not live here.
Correct.
There's somebody who's moved into that house without the permission of the owner?
We don't know that.
Do you
We
have
know the house
perhaps-
does not have water to it because we turned the water off for
Well, that's not very nice.
outstanding water bill. We
Nobody's
let,
paying utilities.
So are you more questioning, you're worried that somebody maybe is squatting in a house or is burglarizing a house that they shouldn't be in?
Squatting.
Squatting.
Well, there's
Probably
a big
squ-
difference between what I can do with a burglary versus a squatter.
I
So-
would say a squatter and we're concerned, there's kids there.
So from my standpoint in law enforcement, how I would look at this is if you can direct me to the house, I would definitely like to contact the owner just to make sure we don't have a burglary. If the owner says they have no issue with the people being there, my extent of what I can do ends. However, if the owner says, no, there's supposed to be nobody in this house, if there's somebody in there, they broke in, that's a different story. So get me an address after the meeting and I'll see what I can come up with on that.
Okay, our code enforcement officer
You guys have a
has,
code enforcement officer? Who's your code enforcement officer?
his name is Troy Crawford.
Uh-huh,
He was trained by Andy Mankey.
uh-huh.
Andy spent the whole day here with him, I believe it was a week ago Friday, and we have 4 houses in town that we have sent letters to and knocked on doors, and already have some positive input with people who are trying to abate the conditions which we cited that are against our nuisance ordinance.
Oh, nice.
And so at the present point, it's starting to work well without any police activity or anything else. Things are happening.
That's always the best.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah,
our
the
best
case
goal.
scenario.
Our goal is is for compliance, not for any kind of.
So when you don't have compliance, depending on what that is, then it's
Then it goes to the court and it's out of our hands.
sure.
And it's all been codified now, so the court has numbers and it makes things much simpler from our end of it.
Yes, and I will say from my standpoint, when I do get calls to Harrington for things like my neighbors being loud, your guys' ordinance, although I can find them online, you go down documents, resources, ordinances, noise, and then you find it. It is not the easiest thing to find for people. I don't know if there's a way that you guys could change it. Maybe look at Davenport's website. Theirs is awesome. So they just have on the far right side, it says municipal codes. And then they're all,
Are you referring to Harrington Biz?
that's the only one I know of. Do you have another one?
Well,
Harrington Biz is the Chamber's website,
Hey, the ordinances are on there at least.
but they will not be for much longer.
Oh, good. So do you have them on another website that are easy to find?
We're working on it.
Work in progress.
So from my standpoint, if somebody doesn't have a way to know what they're doing is wrong, then how do you enforce that? And so noise is something that people call the 911 for, right? My neighbor is loud. So for us, in the past, I go to Harrington Biz website and you go through all this and you can find the noise ordinance. It is listed on there. I think it's 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I think is what it is. When you do get your new changeover, I would suggest looking at how Davenport does it. Theirs is awesome for me to go to somebody's house and go, click, click, here's the rules. Make that mistake again, here's the fine. And in Davenport, I just cite them. I'll write the citations myself. So say, here's your fine, have a good day.
You'll be able to do that here too.
So yeah, and Andy Mankey and I had a conversation about that tonight. He said there's some hiccups that they're trying to figure out a way around, but hopefully it'll get worked out. But yeah, look at theirs because their codes are awesome. Dogs out, or how many dogs they have, or how loud you can be, or any of that stuff. You guys have a code from like the 80s on recreational vehicles. Have you guys read that one? I think it's like a $25 permit.
Yeah.
Do they come here to buy that permit?
Yeah, supposed to.
Supposed to.
Yeah, I have not met one person who knew about that I've talked to.
Yeah.
So I would suggest just take a look at that. And who's builds your website?
Steven.
Oh,
well, okay. First of all, when you
Explains
say
a lot.
your
I'm just kidding.
when you say your website, you're referring
The
to
city.
Harrington Biz?
Well, no, I'm saying this future, whatever you guys are doing. You said
That
something
has
about a
not been
Harrington.city.
determined. We-
Okay, I would just suggest that when you do it, make it as easy as possible for people to find those things, because then there's no questions.
There's no excuse.
Well, yeah, exactly. And really, for me, if I'm going to cite somebody, if it's too hard for me to find, they're not getting a citation for it. It's not going to happen. So but if I can go there and easily point it out and go, you should be able to do this, no problem. And usually the first time, let's be honest, nobody gets a citation the first time their dog gets out. But in Davenport, I've written $830 tickets for your dog getting out. Because it gets out 3 times and that's the ticket. So I suggest, just take a look at that. It's awesome the way this goes. And if you guys want me to show it to you how easy it is to find, or actually I don't even need to show it to you. Just go to Davenport's website, you'll find it.
It depends on who let the dog out.
Well, doesn't matter who let it out the way the rule's written, right? So, other than that, there was a question that was brought up earlier about the call log in the sheets and what do these things mean and what do you still have that? And I can kind of explain some of that real quick.
I think you've got it. Or possibly it's on my desk.
Okay, well if you don't have it, I can.
No, it's right here.
So you guys get this.
Thanks, John.
Does everybody?
Whoops.
That's okay. Does everybody see this?
No.
Okay, so every month there's a sheet like this generated for every town and every area, and I can look them up more often. And you see these little codes on here that say what kind of call they are, like animal problem, or civil or domestic violence incident. The one that was brought up to me was PSC, suspicious person or circumstance 5. That was the #1 deal. Anything that we don't know what it is when somebody calls is suspicious. So if somebody calls and says, I think I just heard somebody in my alley, whether it's a cat, a dog, whatever, it's suspicious. If somebody calls and says, my neighbor's being really loud next door, and we go over there and the neighbor's just being loud, suspicious. However, if we get a call that says my neighbor's being really loud, can you talk to him? And I go over there and it turns into a domestic violence, that will get switched from suspicious to domestic violence incident. When you see domestic violence incident on here, DOME, that does not mean somebody was assaulted. Domestic violence could be one of numerous amount of crimes that are all related to a relationship that you have with a person. And there's a whole list of them. What are all the domestic violence relationships, Mr. Rose? You just got out of the academy?
So, like if you're married, if you have a child in common, if you're roommates.
Or ever were roommates, ever.
Yeah, if you were ever roommates.
Siblings.
16 plus.
Yeah.
Not 16 siblings.
If they
but
had
16
the
years
16,
old.
there'd be a lot of DV.
If you have, so any of those things. So for example, if Stephen and I were roommates at 18 years old, and 25 years later, we get into a fight, it's domestic violence. Because we were roommates at one time.
What's the difference between that instead of 3rd or 4th degree assault?
So domestic violence is just a tag that would go with the crime.
It's just
so
a label.
All it means is that a assault 2 happened, and it was a domestic violence relationship. So domestic violence itself is not the crime. The crime is assault. Domestic violence is the tag that goes on it. And if it is a domestic violence relationship, then there's more that we have to do.
An adjective.
What's that?
It's just an adjective.
Yes, exactly. But it actually changes the rules about how things work. So we have to do things differently for domestic violence than we do for you and your neighbor got mad at each other and got into a fight.
Okay, two neighbors having a fist fight.
That's assault.
4th, but where does it get into the degrees? 4th,
Okay.
3rd, 2nd?
Sure. So it's the level of the intent and the injury. So assault 4 is Peter doesn't want to show me his cool stuff and I push him. That's assault 4.
No, we can put it in terms. So Denise wanted to borrow Peter's stick to hit us tonight. So how many times would she have to strike us with Peter's stick in order to be arrested?
So it depends on the likeliness of injury.
Okay.
So if it's likely,
Pretty likely.
If Denise is swinging it, it's gonna hurt.
and what kind of injury?
If Denise
happens.
leaves Davenport going 40 miles
If it's
an hour,
likely to kill somebody, for example, right, that could be assault 1, or seriously, if it's temporary and transient pain, that's assault 4. Between those things, strangulation, suffocation, that's assault 2. Poisoning is assault 2, correct? Poisoning? He's just out of the academy. We have a book. We look it up. So what you really need to know is, for us, is did somebody get assaulted? Yes. And then from there, you can figure out which level of assault it is. Assault 3 is usually on like a police officer. However, there's 11 other things in that list that it could be.
So fairly regularly, when it's above 60 degrees
Above 60 degrees, yeah.
Fahrenheit,
Yeah, I wear flip-flops.
we have a couple houses here where on Friday and Saturday night, or if there's a holiday during the middle of the week, these individuals like to ride their dirt bikes, like dirt bikes in
Yeah, Whitley,
Baltimore.
Lynn, yeah.
Huh?
Whitley.
I don't know
Jeff.
names. And have burnout competitions.
Oh, I've had many conversations with those people.
And if they do it in front of their house, I don't care, but when they start doing it up every street in town and heading into the golf course, then being old and not happy about those kind of things.
You don't have to be
anymore.
old to not be happy about those things.
Well, now I'm old and pretty civil, so I'm
middle-aged,
So,
not too happy about
I know
those things.
I have instructed people, they say, did you hear them guys? Did you call the police and make a complaint?
And
No.
sometimes they do, sometimes.
You know, you need to call the police.
So the big thing about driving issues is a lot of times it's really hard for us to do something about it after the fact.
Absolutely.
And now, not always, sometimes we can do something about it after the fact. What I like to tell people to do is if
Video
somebody's,
it.
what's that?
Video?
Video it, record it. So that way, because if you're in the public, you can record, right? Because that's
Yeah.
not a private conversation. Now, if it's a private conversation, you can't record people. Everybody, I hope, knows that. But in the public, that's different. So record it, because then I can take that video and I can walk up to Whitley and I can say, Whitley, this is a no-no. Don't
is
do
you.
this. And I know that's who it is most of the time because I've had those conversations with him and Jeff. I've had conversations with both. But if I don't have that and they go, what was a blue motorcycle? Well, there's a blue motorcycle over there and over there and over there and over there. The burnouts happen to lead from Main Street all the way down to 3rd, so I know where they came from.
Yeah.
But it does make it harder for us to enforce when we can't pinpoint it. But record it. If people in public can be recorded in public, not in private. Hope everybody knows that, right? Cannot record a private conversation. I'm not telling you to record private conversations. You go to jail for that.
How much could a business have cameras, like the post office, I guess, just put up a camera?
So
where can that shine? I mean, what's the parameters?
you have to have an expectation of privacy. So I'm in here, the library or open meeting. I have zero expectation of privacy. You can record this. Businesses, zero expectation of privacy. A bathroom, however, you got an expectation of privacy in a bathroom.
Right.
So it's where you would feel that a conversation should be private. If I'm in my house and you are recording me in my house, even if I invite you into my house,
Yeah.
I have an expectation of privacy while I'm in my house. If it can be seen from the public, heard from the public, you don't have an expectation of privacy.
So the sidewalk out front could be,
That's public.
yeah, public, no expectation.
Yeah, that's why you see people all the time recording people, recording police, things like that. That's fine in public, in our state. So, yeah, and then on this thing, so animal problem, that can be anything from somebody called because there's a dead deer to somebody called because a dog was out. Anything could be an animal problem. I hate this report because it doesn't explain things. What I would like is, you get this at the beginning of the month, right?
This is our first one.
This is the first one you ever got?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know that they were available till I called the sheriff's office. Yeah.
Oh,
Because when things happen, for instance, the burglary that was up on Cool Creek and by a person near the park
Yes.
down here, we got 24 questions about that from different people.
yes, okay.
Did somebody get shot? We don't know.
So a couple of things on that. One, we are trying to do a much better job using our social media to explain to people what's going on. I don't know if you've noticed, if anybody follows our social media page on Facebook, but we do a much, much better job of that now than we used to in the past. In the past, it used to be, let me tell you about something that happened before and how great it was. Now we are close. I had the case in Davenport with the guy with the gun. That was on Facebook within 20 minutes. Did you hear about the guy pulled a gun on a bunch of kids? Okay, that was on Facebook within 20 minutes. Hey, if you have any info. So that is something that we are changing. Our current sheriff is very community-minded, and he is all about protecting the community and making the community be involved in what we do. So that is a big push. You'll also notice that he doesn't put a lot of our names on there because he feels that it's more important to be a community and a team than it does to say, look how great John is. Because I just want you to know, everything cool that happens, I did it. So if it's good, I did it. He just doesn't post it. I think you should all call him.
That's
and
my
tell him.
assumption.
Yeah. But so that is one thing that we do. However, if you have questions for something like that, I know I gave you a card. I know you have my number. You have my number. If anybody else wants cards, I can give you cards. And if I can tell you, I will.
Okay.
Not always can I tell you. Here.
I don't necessarily want to know
You
all
two
the
have my
facts.
numbers.
I'm more interested in what kind of information I can give to the public to get people to calm down and not get excited.
Yep, and I completely agree that that is very important, because if you don't, then they show up.
Well, then it goes from this happened to this happened.
Well, and they show up on our calls, and that's even worse.
Yeah.
Because then we're out at a call trying to figure things out, and they go, well, nobody at the city hall can tell me what's going on. And I'm like, well, we've got this going on. I'd really like you just to hang out back here. So
Yes.
I will always share information that I can share, and
Right.
our current sheriff is the same way. He's all about making the community involved in everything that we do. So I think you'll get a lot of that info. When you do get this in the future, and are they going to give this to you once a month? Is that what you asked for?
Yeah, that's what they told me they do.
And that's an email too, is it not?
Email?
That was just emailed to you?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just email.
Yeah, well, something like this. I mean, I can run this anytime you guys want for any period. It doesn't matter to me. But if you have questions on this, I work every Wednesday night. Well, I can take a lot of them off. I'm scheduled every Wednesday night. If there's something that you need explained after the fact, too, if you say, hey, can you fill us in? Call me and say we'd like you to come to this meeting, and we're specifically wanting to know about this, and I'll pull up as many of those facts as I can. I'll bring them to your meeting. I go to Davenport's meeting a lot. They schedule me first. I'm like, you guys, but it is what it is.
You didn't let us know.
What's that?
You didn't let us know.
She's the one who told me to come today. So I will come and tell you everything I can and answer all your questions whenever I can.
So, if squatters are in the house and the same two cars are there on a regular basis, and they won't answer the door with a knock and greet,
Uh-huh.
if we give you the license plate numbers, is there anything you can do with those license plate numbers to help us gain access to maybe who we're talking about?
So I'm a huge supporter of the Constitution and things like freedom
Yeah?
and the Fourth Amendment. So no,
You can't help with that.
but what I can do is
Tear gas.
I have a pepper ball gun that shoots through windows. No, what I can do
Spikes her
is
up, Shannon.
if you can give me the address to the house.
Sure.
In this case, I would like to do this, is I would like to reach out to the owner of the house just to make sure we don't have somebody there who's not supposed to be there.
Okay.
However, if that person says, yep, I'm fine with those people being there, no crime's been committed, I'm out of it. However, if they say nobody's supposed to be there, yeah, I'm going to be running every license plate in front of that house to figure out who's in this house and why they're there.
If you're ever in the Shelton area, he resides down there.
Oh, okay, well,
Very close to Ridge Motor Speedways.
so typically, Shelton, they only stay there for a little while before they go somewhere else.
I think he's there for a long time.
Well, Shelton is the transfer house. So they start there.
I know people that have been there a while.
So that's 23 and 1. So they should get classified and sent somewhere else. Just like I said, give me the address and I'll, because there's no, in this case, we don't think somebody should be in a house that's in a house. That's a possible burglary. That's a possible crime. A reasonable person, myself, could believe that a crime could be happening. And I have a right to investigate that to a point, as long as I'm reasonable. So give me the address and I'll look into it.
Okay.
Do you guys have any other questions on any of this? Welfare checks, any of that kind of stuff? If you ever see one that says dead body, don't assume that means that somebody was killed. We had that happen last month in Davenport. It said dead body.
Somebody passed away.
Somebody passed away. If they're not on the expected to die list, it comes up as
Wait, there's a list.
you have to be put on a list. Yeah. So if you're on hospice,
Yeah.
right, then your doctor will put you on a list and says, hey, this person's going to go in the next few days.
okay.
If not,
Do you remember
then we
what
go
his
do a
name
full
is,
investigation. Even if you die of
Oh, I hate that.
old age or whatever, we are still going to go do a full investigation anytime you're not on that list or not receiving medical care at that time. If you're in a hospital, we're not showing up unless something suspicious happened. But if you're not on that list, so if you ever see something like that, don't.
I can pull it up.
But I'm here for you guys for anything you guys need. I'm always around Harrington, so yeah. Any other questions?
Deputy Rowe's gonna get black uniform as soon as he gets
Don't you have a black
probation.
one? So the difference in a black and a green uniform, the green uniforms are non-insulated summer uniforms. The black ones are fleece lined.
Young
So,
guy.
for the winter time, they are a little bit better. I don't know. Where's he?
He's just a young buck. You're just
Yeah.
So they're making you
He's the
freeze.
same age.
Young guy with thin blood. I've got it.
I like how
over
they're
there.
talking about you like you're not even here.
I just listen.
Okay.
You'll get cards as soon as you get a black uniform.
Do you have a card too?
Do you remember what his last
don't have
name
cards?
is?
Seriously?
Lance.
Which lens are we talking about?
Not here. Starts with a B.
Do it, Levi.
Oh, no,
Oh,
I
God.
don't.
Were you able
Here
to
we
comment
go.
on the burglary up on Cold Creek Road on the golf cart?
So I wasn't.
Why are
in
we
that case,
still-
but I know we caught the people and they were arrested. But I did not.
to adjourn.
I personally didn't do that case. If there's something specific on it, I can look it up.
Yeah.
But I know the people were apprehended.
Do I want to pound on the table first?
Yes.
Your microphone's over.
Last thing is,
After the microphones are off, I'll talk.
Okay.
Did you hear my motion?
yes, you had a motion to
Adjourn.
second?
Yes.
It's been a motion and seconded. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned
Carry on, Johnny.
9:36.
About which thing?